Hey guys, here we are. These are notes for 8C. And for 8C, we're going to be calculating the volume of rectangular prisms. So a rectangular prism is just a three-dimensional rectangle. It has length, width, and height. Volume is the amount of space an object occupies. You might find the volume of your locker, you might find the volume of a pitcher, you might find the volume of your classroom, how much air it can hold. But we're going to look at some cubes here, and we're going to count them first of all. So I see that I've got 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 tall here, and then I've got 2 across the front, and this is 2 deep. Well, I know that 7 times 2 means I've got 14 in the cubes that are facing me, plus another 14 behind. So I've got 14 plus 14 cubes, or 28 cubes altogether. Another thing I could say, and this is the counting method, if I counted them, I would get 28. I could also do something mathematically. I could say 7 times 2 times 2. In other words, I could do the height times the width times the length. So I could do 7 times 2 times 2. In other words, 7 across the front times 2 wide times 2 deep. And if I do 7 times 2 times 2, I'm going to get 28 cubes. So counting or mathematically, I still get 28. Let's look at another example over here. Now I've got this tower that I built, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 high, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 across, and it's 2 deep. And so 7 by 6, this front that's facing me, is going to give me 42 cubes. And then 7 times 6 behind it, another 42. It's going to give me 84 cubes altogether. 42 in the front, 42 behind, 84 altogether. Then if I multiplied this out, so that was the counting method, right? If I multiplied this out, I would get 7 times 6 times 2, and when I multiplied those all together, I would get 84 cubes. Okay, I want you to go ahead and pause the video, and you try this next one, and then tune back in and see how it went for you. So did you find out that it was 3 high, and that it was 9 across, and 2 deep? And so when you count these, 3 times 9 is 27, plus the second set of 27 to give you a total of 54. And then did you try it mathematically? Did you try, that was the counting method. Did you try the mathematical method, 3 times 9 times 2, and then also get 54? So that's a total of 54 cubes. Well, what that leads us to then is our formula. And so, of course, the formula for finding volume is going to be that we'll take our length times our width times our height. Now, a reminder that when you're looking at these shapes, we don't all see them the same, and so these numbers are pretty much interchangeable as far as which one's length, which one's height, and which one's width. And that's okay because remember that multiplication is commutative. It doesn't matter what order we do it in. All right, so I kind of see this as the height, that's 6 inches. I see the width as 3 inches, and the length as 3 inches. And so to use my formula, I would do length times width times height, which is going to be my 3 times 3 times 6. And when I multiply those together, I'm going to get 36 inches, and remember it's inches cubed. Okay, at this point you go ahead and pause the video and give the next one a try. You'll probably want your calculator there, those numbers are kind of big, and then start back up again when you're done. Okay, so did you decide that the height was 40, and maybe the width is 29, and maybe the length is 53? And then did you multiply all 3 of them together so that you did 53 times 29 times 40, and that comes out to be quite a large number, 61,000 480 centimeters, and again, cubed. Did you remember to put the label cubed on? All right, let's look at one with fractions. We can do these, of course, with fractions and with decimals and with whole numbers. So I see my height of 1/2 an inch, and my width is 1/2 inch, and my depth or length is 1/4 inch. So I am going to be multiplying 1/4 times 1/2 times 1/2. Now, if you remember multiplying fractions, this is really, we're going to multiply the numerators together and multiply the denominators together. If you've forgotten, remember that we are able to use our calculators for this unit, and I'm going to use my calculator just so that I can remind you how to use this for your fractions. Let me turn this off, and maybe I won't get such a glare. Doesn't help very much, does it? So I can move my calculator a little bit so we don't have such a glare. There we go. Okay, so it's 1/4 times 1/2 times 1/2. So 1, and then I hit this ABC button. And again, it's different in different places on different calculators. But I've got 1/4, and then times 1, the ABC button, half, and then times 1, the ABC button, half. And remember, if I was putting in a mixed number, I would do the whole number, ABC button, the numerator, ABC button, and then the denominator. Okay, so I'm ready, and I see that that comes out to 1/16. Now this one I could have done in my head as well. So 4 times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, 1 times 1 is 1. So 1/16, and we, again, inches cubed. Okay, so stop the video, you give the third one, the last fourth one here a try, and then start up again and see how you did. All right, so did you pick up maybe 3 3/4 for the height, and 4 1/2 for the width, and 5 for the length? And then were you able to use your calculator and put in 5 times 4, ABC button 1, ABC button 2, times 3, ABC button 3, ABC button 4, and I get 84 3/8 inches cubed. Just a reminder, that was 5 times 4 1/2 times 3 3/4. All right, that's your notes for 8C.